Alright, you guys, welcome to Edel, my little corner of the internet where we discuss topics that help us get better. Today I want us to talk about emotional intimacy. So buckle up your seatbelts and let's give this a go.
My ex fiance was not a bad man. He was actually an extremely good man. And I will maintain that until the end of my days. He was a good man. But even good men are conditioned into entitlement, and all women are conditioned into servanthood. My partner did all the things he's supposed to do. He worked a hard job and he provided the financial means for our house. He was our main breadwinner. He fixed things in the house. He showed up. He planned occasional dates. He did all the things he was supposed to do. But there was something missing in the day-to-day that I really did not give credit to how important was. And that really was just the emotional capacities that we had. I saw someone comment on one of my recent videos of feeling exhausted because she was having to beg for that emotionality in her relationship. And it brought me back to so many conversations where I was sitting across from my partner, begging him to just be emotional and open with me in a way that he could not access. And it constantly made me feel like I was too much. And he was never saying that. He was never like, you are too much. But it always made me feel like I was too much. And what we've come to the realization in our separation is that my emotional capacity, because of my life experiences, is incredibly large, and his is just not. And that's okay. That's not an inherently bad thing on either of our parts. But what I do think it says is that we can't be mismatched in that. And I think that I did not take into account how important it is to feel that deep emotional intimacy with your partner. And that it isn't enough for your partner to just be a good guy. It's not enough for him to just be the breadwinner. It's not enough for him to be the person that shows up for the dates that you plan. It's not enough for him to plan an occasional date. It's not enough for him to remember special events. It's not enough for him to show up when you ask him to. It's not enough for him to show up when you ask him to. There needs to be this reciprocal relationship with intentionality, with emotionality, with future planning, with drive and ambition, and who pushes things forward and who creates the momentum even for things like chores and errands. I think so many great women settle for men who are good men, who could provide happy, stable lives, but they miss out on the opportunity to understand themselves and what they need deeper because they think that that's enough. It's not enough if you feel like you're begging your partner to be emotional with you. It is not enough if you feel like you have to repeat yourself 5 million times for your partner to do the chore that no one asks you to do. It's not enough for them to provide financially but not show up for you emotionally. There's so many things in a relationship that go beyond who is good. You can be a great person and still not have the tools to be a good partner. And that's okay to admit. Because we all have capacities for growth. That doesn't mean that you can't be a good partner. Just either we're mismatched or we don't have the tools to be good partners to one another. But I think so often women are afraid to leave good men because we're like, there's not that many out there. And that's true. If you're only attracted to men, I'm sorry, there ain't that many good ones out there. But why would you settle for a good one when you're great? If they're not adding to it, they're taking away from it.
Wow. So what she's addressing here is something that I feel we don't consider so many times, which is emotional compatibility. I think when we are looking for a partner, we sort of check the boxes in they're attractive, they're financially stable, they'll make a good father, all these things. Probably now there's an addition, we look good together on social media, which is insane to me. But a very big aspect of a relationship that is going to work is when you're emotionally a match, you know? And this, as much as it's overlooked, it comes to affect the relationship as it goes on. And this happens, the mismatch happens when people have different upbringings. For example, if you're raised in a household where you're showered with love, you're showered with emotional presence, you know what it's like to be asked, how was your day? How are you doing? What would you like to do? What are your thoughts? These are ways of connection and connecting and sharing intimacy emotionally. But there are others that are raised without this at all. It's like a survival based kind of existence where this is not in their day to day, so they're not open to this. There's that void because humans inherently were created to love and to be loved. So if this does not exist as we are being brought up, then it just stays there as a void. And when someone comes into your life with all this sunshine and asking you, how was your day? How are you doing? Texting you all the time. And you find some people saying that you're being too much, you're being too needy, you're being too clinging. Sometimes that's not the case. It's just that they're looking for reciprocation in emotion, but it's not present in everyone because we're all raised differently. And you find sometimes you hear people saying, I'm in a relationship, but I'm lonely. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, but this is the reason why this kind of situations come up. We don't pay attention to this in the beginning, and we're not even aware of it, because if you come from a place where this is present, you expect that this is what you should expect from someone. So it's not quite something that you're looking to see if it exists or not. And usually, as we know, the first months and the first years, maybe the honeymoon stage, where everybody says honeymoon stage, everybody's putting their best foot forward. This relationship is nice, it's fresh, but as time goes, people then go back into their default settings, which means it's who they were brought up as. And if someone hasn't done the work intentionally to say, I wasn't brought up in love or with love, so I want to learn what that's about and I want to learn to give it and to receive it, then it's not possible to shake them into giving you something that they don't possess. Sometimes in relationships in the beginning where, it's like an audition, we are auditioning to be the best one that is picked. So we do the things, we make dates, we ask our partners, what time are you leaving work, what do you want to do for dinner, and all these kind of things. But it's not because that's who we are, it is the performance stage I find a lot of people doing as they're dating earlier, and then that wears off. And I think it shouldn't. In love, it should be this continuous thing that exists every day. I am in a really loving marriage. My husband and I love each other so much. Like, it's so great. And I was a person that I never expressed emotions. Like, I was just shut down. I had just there. I have a lot of love in my heart, but I was not like expressing it there. Like, hey, look at me, I love you. It wasn't really who I am. But I met my husband and I was able to access this, and it's one of the most beautiful feelings that I have ever felt. We're in now 8 years, and every single day we talk about how much we love each other. And I think that's one of the best parts of my day. It is so great. As we go to bed, I'm just there talking about our love. We talk about our love, and we love it so much. And it's not like a suffocating thing. It's just so beautiful, so we can teach ourselves these things. It's possible, and we should want that for ourselves. We should know that it exists, and we should, it's not like you every day waking up and you're seeking it. Just learn to open up to this, so that when you find the right person, then naturally you come together, and then this beautiful symbiosis comes out of it. I don't even know if I used the right word there, but it's a beautiful thing. And I also find a lot of times people are afraid of showing love, like being vulnerable in that space, because they fear to be rejected. You already think that is such a vulnerable thing to do, even if you're not thinking about it in that way, to say that I don't want to love because it's vulnerable. Viscerally, somewhere, there's something that's just blocking you from expressing this, because you just don't want to put yourself in that position, and then someone doesn't give it back to you, and now you feel uncomfortable because it's you're really open, you know. So these are things that is so important to learn about ourselves in the beginning, so that we really understand what it is that we're getting ourselves into, you know. And let's understand that sometimes in the beginning there's this performance, and let's have these candid conversations, really understand what wounds our partners have, and understand, are they willing to work on these wounds? Are they willing to work on themselves? Because sometimes some people just do not have the capacity, or they do not have the desire to work on themselves. They're okay the way they are because that gives them like a sense of control of their life. So you trying to think that if I'm with them a little bit longer, I'll be able to change them, I'll be able to make them that which is good to me, like that which suits me. It doesn't work, because you have to keep in mind it's so difficult to change yourself as a person. Change is such a difficult thing to do. So imagine how difficult it is to change yourself, change viewpoints that you have, opinions, all these kind of things. Now try to imagine imposing change on someone that does not have the desire or doesn't have the interest. It becomes, it's impossible. It's not even something that you should want to do. And that's why it's important to understand these early stages, to understand ourselves, not trying to perform so that we get the ring on our fingers, or so that we get this grand wedding. And I see a lot of people usually in relationships so that they get to that wedding and they have to show off. Look at my wedding, look at my wedding dress, look at how many people I was able to invite, look at all the lights, look at everything. It was superb. But being with someone is not about the wedding. The marriage is a totally different thing. So if you're not asking yourself the right things, and if you're not doing the right due diligence by both of you, you're going to come to a place where it takes a toll. And conversations at that time, sometimes you'll have gone way too far, because some people don't even want to have the conversations. They can't have the conversations. They just want to be left with their walls up. And that's another thing. You can find a partner who has similar walls up, and so you're a match because both your walls are up. And this is the point of understanding who you're with, you know. So you can find two walls and you're happy and dandy. You don't have to be, you know, into each other's personal space, begging, you know, for intimacy, begging for someone to see you, to validate you, because you just both want to be invisible and you're happy being invisible. You make your plans, you go hiking, you do this and that, you don't talk about the things. And I see so many couples also that are like that. But if it's a match, then it's fine. I remember I saw yesterday some girl complaining. She was talking about a marriage that she left. She was like, I married this guy. I fooled myself and I fooled the whole world. Everybody thought everything is fine. We were doing great. And this person was not available for me. Would go home after a hard day's work and would go switch on the TV, and he's watching his football or he's watching his sports. There's no conversation. There's nothing. And it was month in, month out, year in, year out. And then she realized that this is not what I want. This is not what marriage is. I need to be able to talk to my partner. We need to have conversations. She's like, hey, what's going on here? And so she asks the husband, she says to the husband, we need to have a talk. And he says to her, yeah, we can talk. And she's like, would you please pause the television? And he says, no, we can just talk. I can hear you. It's hitting her in that moment, like, what? He can't even just pause the TV so that they can talk. So you can see that is a lack of intimacy. She needed the partner to turn around and look at her and see her, you know. But he couldn't do this. He wants to look at the TV and offer the ear and maybe put whatever she's saying in this ear and the other one out. And she just said, that was it. That was 5 years. I snapped that day and I realized that I have been living like this, having to hold this facade so that people can see that I'm married and I can maintain the label that I'm married, and I show on social media that I'm happily married, but I wasn't happily married. So this is what I'm talking about. We have to really understand these things. And if we're already in relationships that these things are happening, we also have to be honest with ourselves, because lying to yourself to say, oh, he's going to change, falling in love with someone's potential, maybe today he sort of gives you a little bit of intimacy because you've been suggesting for so long, and it gets tiring on his behalf or her behalf, and she says, okay, now she'll ask you, how was your day? And you feel, okay, I'm getting somewhere. And then they shut off again. You don't want to live like that, because it becomes a loop, and then you start feeling like you're annoying your partner. Actually feels like you're annoying them, because they're just not set up for that. So if your partner is not open for change, or to be changed, or to meet you where you are emotionally, it is fine. There's a person that is meant for you. So the longer you stay in a position or in a situation that doesn't serve you, the longer you're going to be miserable, and the more time goes by, and the more you feel like I've invested so much time here, I have to keep staying here. And that's not the case. And it even becomes worse when you think, okay, if we have kids, they're definitely going to change. So you stay there, you get a child, and then you realize your partner is open to the child and not to you. Now you'll see you've layered this to the next level. You can see that they're capable of being open emotionally, and you're now looking at it and you're just thinking, they're just not open to me. And now you start thinking that there's something wrong with you. So do you understand where I'm going with this? So it's very important not to add complexities to an already complex situation. You bring the kids there and it becomes complicated. You start resenting maybe your children, like, why doesn't my husband or my wife love me the way they love you? Or you start resenting your partner, or you're capable of this and you're not doing this. And it becomes a lot, and it becomes so messy. And sometimes we're not able to actually point a finger to know what is really happening, because things have happened so much, and so much has gone unaddressed that you don't even know where to begin. So let's do due diligence to ourselves and to our partners. Let's learn to have necessary conversations at the right time. Let's stop being performative. Let's be honest. Let's be candid. And this will save a lot of us, our friends, our families, because once you get married to someone, remember, you're marrying into another family, you're marrying into another set of friends, and it just gets so complicated. That's it for now. Thank you so much for being here with me. Share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, you're not broken, you're not damaged, you're not unlovable, you're not too old, you're not too far gone, and it's definitely not too late. Start where you are, and you've got this. I'll see you next time.